Hello and welcome to another Tabletop Ramblings Middle-earth strategy battle game battle report. Today's game is a 450 point battle between Minas Tirith and Mordor. Leading Minas Tirith today, we have a fully decked out Faramir. He's got a shield, lance, heavy armour and horse. And with him, he has 10 warriors with shield, 5 Fountain Court Guard with shield, and a banner with spear and shield, and then 2 rangers. Also out to play, we have Madril with 5 warriors with shield and 5 with spear and shield, and then the mighty bolt thrower. That is 450 points of Minas Tirith. The Horde of Evil is led by Gorbag. In the back right there, he's got a shield, and then his warband, he's got 4 orcs with shield and pick, and then he's got 5 with a spear, a tracker, and a warg rider with throwing spear. He's then backed up by Grishnak, who's got a shield and an identical warband. And then finally, a Blackguard of Barad-dûr captain with 5 Blackguard of Barad-dûr and 6 spearmen. And they're all generic orcs in this list. There are a couple of Morannons thrown in there, but only the model. They are all generic orcs. So there we have Gorbag's 450 points of Mordor. This is the battlefield for today. It's fairly open with some scattered farmland and that big farm in the centre. And it is that farm around which this entire game of Hold Ground will centre, because the main objective of this game is to take the centre. Normally it's within 6 inches of the central point, but for a little bit of theme here, we're just going to say any model within that central pumpkin patch is on the objective, and anyone outside is not on the objective. The pumpkin patch is worth most of the points in this scenario, either 3, 5 or 7 victory points, depending on whether you've got more, double or triple the number of models in the pumpkin patch than the enemy at the end of the game. There's also 1 or 2 victory points depending on whether you can wound or kill the enemy leader, and 1 or 3 depending on whether you can break the enemy or break them while being unbroken. As always, the victory points are counted up at the end of the game, and this game will end on the roll of a 1 or 2 at the end of a turn in which one force has been broken. At the start of turn 1, before priority is rolled, because of this, there is a siege engine, this is deployed first. And Minas Tirith, go and stick that down in this corner, facing down the line towards the farm. So with more of a bird's eye view, that's the bolt thrower down in the right hand corner. And then it's priority. And priority goes to good. So Madril going down first gets a 6. He plonks himself down right next to the ballista to try and protect him. Then Faramir, he goes and rolls a 4. But he uses Madril's special rule to pump that up to a 5 and come in on the other side of the ballista. Onto evil deployment, and Gorbag gets a 6. He's the leader, so he goes off nice and safe behind that house. Then Grishnak, also on a 6, decides to stick himself next to the Minas Tirith line. His plan is to be a speed bump, and he's deployed out of line of sight of the bolt thrower. Then the captain gets a 3 and uses a point of might to increase it to a 4, which is north-south, his choice. So he takes his warband right to the enemy and goes behind Madril and the bolt thrower, ready to get some kills next turn. Before that though, we have the shoot phase, and the ballista counts as not moving on turn 1, and it gets 4 hits, all of which hit, and manages with a point of might to outright kill the captain, which is unbelievably lucky there for Minas Tirith. So an overview of the board at the end of turn 1, Minas Tirith have been outmaneuvered, but they have managed to kill a captain before he's even got into combat. So with that, we roll for priority, and it goes to good. So Grishnak calls a heroic move, as does Madril. The roll-off goes to Madril, and he's able to run backwards, tying up Grishnak and just trying to hold that line, although the counter charge is nasty. The line has been charged there, and over at the top, both Faramir and Gorbag are running for the centre. Combat phase, and Grishnak calls a heroic combat. The Warrior of Minas Tirith shields on a 6. Can he hold the line? No. Grishnak on the Imps Gaming 6 wins the fight. He is not prone because of the charging Wargrider. Grishnak goes for the kill. He needs 5s to kill him. He's not got it on the first set of double strikes. Can he do it? Yes, another Imps Gaming 6, and that Warrior of Minas Tirith is dead. So the Wargrider whips behind Madril, and Grishnak gets in on that fellow. Carrying on those fights, we have the Wargrider who wins. Banner reroll for good, but no help there. So the Wargrider double strikes, definitely guts in there on a 5 and a 6. That guy is dead. We then have Grishnak, who also wins. Can the banner help out? No, not a useful banner. However, Grishnak doesn't get him, but he is trapped, and it's enough there on the 6. Grishnak on a rampage. The final hero fight is Madril. He's fighting 4 guys. He's only on a draw there. Banner reroll, not enough, so he has to burn might just to win. He doesn't want to take strength 5 hits, so he goes for the might and 2 kills against those Blackguard, thinning their ranks. Then in the standard fights, Warrior of Minas Tirith is pushed back and killed, and then it's just pushbacks for each side. Coming across though, we have a Warrior of Minas Tirith getting slaughtered, although the chap outnumbered by 5 does manage to shield and win the fight. So this is how we're looking after those fights. It's still early days, but Minas Tirith definitely taking a beating down at the bottom. So turn 3 priority, and it goes to Evil, which is not good news for Madril. So he calls a heroic move, countered by Grishnak, and it goes to Grishnak. Evil are going to pounce. Grishnak doesn't call with me, he just charges Madril, and then with a quick flash, this is the Evil move. They've charged and gone for everything. Minas Tirith have done some counter moves, and it is going to be a brutal combat phase. And getting stuck straight into that combat phase, we have Grishnak and friends against Madril. Madril bottles it. He's got a banner reroll though. Can he do anything? And he can on a 5. He wins the fight. So he's just going to go after a pleb, and that 4 is a kill because the spearman doesn't have a shield. He's also not a Morannon. He is a normal orc. The rest of the fights are fairly inconclusive, just a lot of things getting pushed back. The combination of shielding for Minas Tirith and a banner means that they are winning a surprising number of fights just to hold the line down here where they're outnumbered, relying on kills in the most favourable fights. Here the numbers getting some kills for Minas Tirith. Overview at the end of the turn, and the numbers advantage that Mordor are bringing to bear on the bottom is still struggling to get past the shields and banners of Minas Tirith. Priority for next turn goes to evil, and with no might down at the bottom, it's looking fairly bleak now. Surely the shielding bannering combination is not going to last forever. Mordor have just overwhelmed down at the bottom, and up at the top they are trying to secure that farm. After Minas Tirith's advance, there was a shot here from a tracker firing at Faramir. He hits, but he hits the guy in front and doesn't wound. We then have the Warg Rider who throws his throwing spear successfully, sadly hits the Fountain Court in front, but kills him on a 6. The fight phase sees that shielding banner combo really pay off. Minas Tirith do lose a couple of guys, but they are able to push back and even kill some of the forces of evil. Here they are stoically defending the bolt thrower, pushing back an orc and Grishnak. This pillow fight over in the corner ends brutally with an orc slaughtered. Although now Madril is fighting for his life, he's trapped, but they do only get a 5 high. It is possible that Madril can do this, and he does, winning it on the 5. And then he can go after a spearman who has a low defense, so he's doing them one at a time. He kills the spearman, but he can't get one of the guys with a shield. Still, not dying is massive, and getting a kill even better. With that, the turn is over. The battlefield is definitely hotting up. Down at the bottom, lots of scraps, and at the top, it is going to be a hard-fought battle for the farm in the next couple of turns. So this is going to be a big priority roll. Turn 5, and it goes to evil. So Faramir calls a heroic move, countered by Gorbag, but it goes to evil. Evil able there to take control of the farm and be able to be in a position where they defend it rather than attack, which is what Minas Tirith are now doing. Faramir has been joined by some friends for an inevitable heroic combat there, and then down at the bottom, evil just getting as many charges as they can, but their numbers are thinning. They have, however, managed to trap the banner, and everyone is in combat around it, so hopefully it will fall. Combat phase, and Faramir calls that heroic combat. The Warg Rider sets the bar at a 4, and then Faramir gets a 5. So Faramir has won that fight. He's got his friends, but they've not rolled anything just yet. Faramir's first double strike does nothing, but then he kills the Rider, allowing his friends to go after the Warg, and they kill it on a 5. So that Warg Rider is dead. And then the heroic move goes off. The guys form into a shield wall, and Faramir goes round into the spearman. And we'll just do those fights now. Faramir wins the fight there on a draw. He's 5-5, more than enough to beat those orcs. And he does nothing on his first set of dice, but then he kills the guy on a 4 and a 6. He's got a lance, so he's wounding these on nothing at all. That 5 and 6, definitely enough. Possibly even enough on that 3, actually. The rest of the fights are fairly inconsequential, with orcs backing away, warriors of Minas Tirith backing away, although here an orc is slain by those 4 warriors and their Fountain Court guard back up. We then have a chap fighting against the tracker and friend backing away, and then we move around to the scrap down at the bottom, where a spearman is killed by a warrior of Minas Tirith, another spearman killed by Minas Tirith, and here this orc just backs away. This chap here backs away. However, the first fight that was done, as it was evil priority, was the banner, and the banner was killed. So that is a small victory there for Mordor. Another chap has charged in on that guy there, and he has just been pushed back, and then Madril wins his fight on the 6 there, nice and easy. He needs force to kill, and he gets the spearman. Madril has been on a rampage this game. Then we come to Grishnak, who's also done pretty well. Can he win? Yes, double 6s. He beats the ranger and slaughters him. And that is the end of the combat phase. So here is an overview of the table. However, it all is really coming down now to the centre here and the battle for the farm. Gorbag and his friends holding it, although Faramir is looking fairly lethal. So this is a big priority, turn number 6, and it goes to good. Gorbag, of course, calls a heroic move. So Faramir is going to be countering that, and he wins the roll-off. We then have Faramir charging right into the back there. Gorbag is attacked, but he's defending a wall, and then Minas Tirith just using their numbers here to try and get as close to the farm as possible. Tying everything up down at the bottom, just looking for kills. With everything in combat, there's no shooting, so we go straight into those fights, and Gorbag loses on double 1s to the 2 guys. Can they get past the wall? No. Defending that position has seen Gorbag fairly safe. Faramir against 4 guys. They set the bar at a 6, which is not good there for Faramir. He is only on a 5, so he uses his last point of might to win that fight. He then guts the first one, that's a tracker, is dead, and the other one, and then for some reason we rolled the next set of dice and got more kills, but there were only 2 in that combat anyway. So he rips both of those guys out. We then have Grishnak. He wins his fight, and he kills one of the engineers. Madril, ooh, he's against an orc who's shielded. He easily wins and stuffs him up there on the 5. Madril, very, very strong this game. The rest of the fights see orcs pushed back, along with those big, beefy uruks. A trapped spearman doesn't die, and just generally everything getting pushed back. Very low on kills this turn. Madril's kill, however, did break the forces of Mordor, so now it is going to be very, very tense. Coming up to the top, we have mainly pushbacks, although an orc is killed, and then again more guys getting pushed back, and a Fountain Court guard pushback off the objective. End of the turn, and with Mordor broken, it is going to be very, very tense now, fighting in the centre. So rolling for priority, turn 7, it goes on the draw to evil. Gorbag rolls his courage, ooh, and he nearly failed it on that one, but the 6 sees him past that, and his guys just barricade the forces of good out. Grishnak on a 5 does actually fail. A big pause here while I did the maths. He fails even with his point of will. He only got a 9, as do 4 other spearmen. So losing a lot of guys there. Minas Tirith are now outnumbering the forces of evil, and they are just charging towards the field of pumpkins, the pumpkin patch, trying to get to Faramir as well, who is well and truly trapped. Before we get to Faramir though, we'll do some scrub battles, and an Uruk is pushed back, although the trapped one is killed. Then up near the farm we have an orc butchered, and a spearman who loses a fight but doesn't die. He just backs away. If we can move in there. A tracker is killed by a ranger and a warrior of Minas Tirith, and that trap chap is also killed. Heavy casualties there for Mordor. The Fountain Court guard is pushed back away from the objective, leaving just Faramir now against Gorbag, who struck up with his point of might up to fight 9 there. He's more than high enough. Faramir sets a bar at a 5, so he's doing okay, could be better. Then Gorbag in gold has done it, and his friend there getting the 6 for good measure, So first set of dice, because he's trapped, it'll be doubled. And that is nasty. That's 3 sixes, 3 wounds on Faramir. Double strikes, 4 wounds. He's 2 wounds, 2 fate. That is Faramir one shot by Gorbag and 2 Mordor orcs in the pumpkin patch. That is an unfortunate way for Denethor's least favourite son. Does the game end? No, it's not a 1 or a 2. The game continues. If it had ended, evil have the pumpkin patch, they'd definitely have won that. As it is, the game continues. Turn 8 and priority goes to good. So, good pile in. They charge pretty much everyone. This orc here fails his courage test there on a 7. They've not got the army bonus because they are definitely outnumbered. And then down here, could have just disengaged from the Uruk down there, who passes his courage test because he's a fairly brave Uruk, who thinks about destroying the device, but then decides not to, as it pins engineers in place. An orc, however, dies defending the patch, as does another, but then the final spearman pushes back the warrior of Minas Tirith. Gorbag, fighting for his life against a warrior and spear support, is fairly safe, because they only got a 2 high. He's a mighty warrior on a 6, but he's unable to kill them. That is a very lonely orc leader in the pumpkin patch, and the game ends. Mordor's leader still alive, but not many others. And so, end of the game, there are just 3 warriors left for evil. A spearman, a blackguard, and their leader, Gorbag. And so that sees the end of the game. It's Gorbag, one-man armying against Minas Tirith, still unbroken, led now by Madril. Minas Tirith, as you can see, definitely have more than triple the forces of evil, so they have 7 victory points and they have claimed the pumpkin patch. They have lost their leader though, so that's 2 victory points to Mordor. However, Minas Tirith are unbroken and Mordor are well and truly broken for another 3 to Minas Tirith, making that a 10-3 victory to the White City. So I hope you enjoyed that game. It was certainly incredibly fun to play. It was a very close, very swingy game. Please do comment below and hit that bell button so that you're notified of any future videos. And if you're new around here, please do subscribe. Again, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.